So what's going on guys, Kids here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best last Epoch class tier list in 2024. This game in general has a bunch of fun and overpowered classes and masteries to play, and we have a very unique variety to choose from. But the big question is, which classes and subclasses will give you the highest damage and much more. And just quickly before we start, as last Epoch has 5 main classes, with 3 subclasses in each one, so I would recommend for you to look at the main 5 classes as more of a main category, and the actual subclasses as the actual class. So for example, if I put the Necromancer at the S tier and you wanna play it, then what we need to do is look at this wheel, and we can see that the Necromancer subclass is under the ACOLYTE main class. So then when you make your character, you select the ACOLYTE as your main class, and the Necromancer as the mastery / the subclass. I really hope that this is clear now. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So then moving over to the first class category, which is the Sentinel. The Sentinel has 3 main mastery / subclasses available, called the Void Knight, Forgeguard and the Paladin. So Void Knight gets to be placed right in the B tier. The first Void Knight mastery specializes in void damage, and it happens to be the only mastery with a void support. Void Knight has nose for Lich, and then a void based ailment called the Time Root, and damage increases for not wearing a shield. However, the most interesting feature of this mastery is the ability to create echoes. Echoes create a copy of one of your skills a short period after using that specific skill. While this mastery is largely themed around melee, it also can support throwing skills. And the Sentinel subclass has one of the most powerful builds based around void spells. Then the next subclass is the Paladin, which we will put right in the A tier. This mastery is themed around fire damage, including the element Ignite and Healing, as well as block, armor, health, and even some bleed and lightning damage. This mastery bonuses provide increase to fire, lightning, physical damage, and healing effects. Paladin also has the unique mechanic of being able to scale the adaptive spell damage while wearing a shield, allowing for a tanky spellcaster playstyle. And then lastly, the Forgeguard gets to be placed in the B tier as well. This mastery is themed around physical damage, which includes the ailment Bleed. Forgeguard provides support for both two-handed and swords and board playstyles. There are also a number of passive nodes devoted to the throwing attacks. This mastery bonuses are devoted to the defense through armor and resistance. Then for the second class category, we have the Mage. The Mage has 3 subclasses / masteries available, which are called the Sorcerer, Spellblade, and the Runemaster. The Sorcerer gets to be placed right in the A tier. The first Sorcerer mastery is your typical spellcaster, which specializes in ranged spells and big elemental AoE damage. He's themed around fire, lightning, and cold damage, and critical strikes are well supported by the Sorcerer's skills and passives. While you won't get as much crits as the Spellblade, the Sorcerer still has support for the ward. The mastery bonuses provide additional mana and spell damage. Then the next one is the Spellblade, which we will put in the C tier. This mastery is your typical melee wielding spellcaster. He has bunch of melee skills that can also proc spells, synergistically bleeding the 2 playstyles together into a very satisfying combination. Like the Sorcerer, the Spellblades are themed around fire, lightning, and cold damage. They have superior ward generation support than the Sorcerer, which is necessary due to their tendency to be in a melee range. Spellblades also have a lot of support for using one skill to build up damage and then unleashing it with a huge burst from another. So if you're looking for a generation / spender type of playstyle, then this is the mastery for you. And then lastly, the Runemaster gets to be placed in the S tier. We will be able to cast the elemental skills that create runes that are based around the elemental type of the skill. Using runic invocation, this will expand those runes to choose a spell to cast. The spell it casts can be determined by the rune combination that was created by the elemental skills. Since the rune combination takes into the account the number of rune elemental types and order, it can create a total of 40 distinct spells. Such a large number of spells from a single skill creates almost limitless possibilities. Then for the next class category, we have the Acolyte. The Acolyte has 3 subclasses / masteries called the Lich, Necromancer, and the Warlock, which is right now in the development. So Lich gets to be placed right in the S tier. The Lich is the master of dark arts, which is able to cast physical spells, through blood magic, as well as having a firm grasp of the necrotic and poison damage. While her skills are often cast at range, she's also more capable when it comes to the melee combat. Although Necromancer is the main minion mastery, Lich also is able to deploy and take advantage of them. The most unique thing about this mastery is the ability to sacrifice her own HP in order to increase her power, creating an increased risk/reward type of playstyle. This mastery bonuses give her Lich and increased damage when missing her health. Then the next subclass is the Necromancer, which we'll put right in the S tier as well. This is your classical minion class. The Necromancer has the ability to wield large armies, single but powerful minions, or sacrifice them in a variety of destructive ways. She is also capable of buffing her minions, creating the opportunity of a more active playstyle, even for zoning builds. The Necromancer's minions have a wide variety of supported damage types, allowing for a large amount of variety in the build. She can also use her minions to provide buffs to herself, which will improve her own damage or survivability. The mastery bonuses will provide her with more skeletons or skeletal mages, as well as increased minion damage. And then lastly, the last third subclass is the Warlock, which is still in the development. So as soon as it gets released and we get more information, I will update this video. All we know right now about this subclass is that he is the master of the forbidden arts. He will tear into the essence of their foes, twisting and corrupting their spirits with relentless curses and hexes. So then moving over to the next class category, which is the Primalist. The Primalist has 3 mastery/subclasses available, called the Beastmaster, Shaman, and the Druid. So the Beastmaster subclass gets to be placed in the B tier. For the Necromancer, minions are expendable too, but not for the Beastmaster. These are companions whose death are to be avoided at almost all cost. These companions have their own active skills that can be used by the player whenever they're off cooldown. If a companion falls into combat, they can be revived, and any Primalist can use companions, but the Beastmaster excels at them, gaining access to more support and the ability to have more companions. He also has strong support for the melee and physical and poison damage types. The Beastmaster's most unique mechanic comes from the aspects, which are special buffs that he can apply to himself and his companions through certain actions. Then the next subclass is the Shaman, which we'll put in the C tier. This mastery is your primarily totem user, but he also excels at spellcasting. His damage type support is largely around cold and lightning, but he also has some physical skills. He can use totems for direct damage or provide buffs to spells, melee skills, or even companions. His mastery bonuses reduce totem mana cost, provide attunement, and buff the shaman's elemental resistance while he's controlling the totem. And then lastly, the third subclass is the Druid, which I will place right in the S tier. The Druid's most notable feature is the ability to transform into a Werebear form, Spriggan form, or Swarmblade form. Werebear and Swarmblades are mastery exclusive, making this class a must for anyone who wants to experience all of the transformation playstyles. He also has the ability to switch between multiple forms, which will gain him buffs from doing so. Damage type support is physical, poison, cold, and lightning. This mastery bonuses give him increased health and mana, and damage reduction when leaving a transformed state. And now last but not the least, we have the last 5th class category called the Rogue. The Rogue has 3 mastery/subclasses available, called the Bladedancer, Marksman, and the Falconer, which is still in the development. So the Bladedancer subclass gets to be placed in the A tier. The Bladedancer fits the ninja/assassin type of playstyle, with skills like the shuriken and smoke grenades. A unique feature of this mastery comes from the Shadow Daggers, which is an ailment that guarantees to crit when used. Bladedancer is primarily focused on physical and poison damage, but he also has some support for fire. Defensively, it has more support than the Marksman, for both dodge and glancing blow, which makes up for it for the large risk this playstyle tends to come up against. Then the next subclass is the Marksman, which we'll put in the A tier as well. This mastery has exclusive access to both bows and quivers, and much of their damage scales only with bow. Your main skills are the multi-shot and hail of arrows, but there are also some more unique options. This mastery has much better balance of supported damage types, because of the physical, poison, fire, lightning, and cold all being good build options. And then lastly, the last third subclass is the Falconer, which is still in the development. As soon as it gets released and updated, I will make a new video. But all we know right now about this mastery, that he is a master tactician who can use deceptive chaps and a fearsome bird of a prey, which can swoop across the battlefield to gain an advantage against his enemies. So then in my last summary, as I said guys, here's the overall tier list, and whichever class you decide to play, remember this wheel. So for simplicity's sake, let's say that I want to play the Druid. So I look again at this wheel, I find the Druid and I see that he's under the Primalist main class. So then I go in the game and pick the Primalist as the main class and the Druid as the mastery, aka the subclass, and that's about it. So I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or maybe you have a different idea about a class or mastery in this video, then you're feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe, and enable that notification bell. With all of this said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in my next video. So take it easy, peace.